Hello everyone, welcome to Dental Education Hub YouTube channel. Today we are going to study the morphology of the deciduous mandibular second molars. So this one is a right deciduous mandibular second molar and this is the left mandibular deciduous second molar. So these teeth, they emerge into the oral cavity around the age of 27 months and the root, it is completed by the age of 3 years. These teeth, they are exfoliated around the age of 11 to 12 years, and at this age these teeth, they are replaced by the mandibular second premolars. Now we will discuss the morphology of these teeth from each aspect. So this is the buccal aspect of the tooth, and the buccal aspect, it has 3 cusps. This is the mesio-buccal cusp. The second cusp is the buccal cusp, and this cusp is the disto-buccal cusp. The 3 cusps, they are almost nearly equal in development. There are 2 grooves. This groove is the mesio-buccal groove, that is between the mesio-buccal and the buccal cusp. This one is the disto-buccal groove, which is between the buccal and the disto-buccal cusp. So these grooves, they are not very well developed. The root, they divide immediately just few millimeter below the cemento-enamel junction. So they divide into 2 roots. This root is the mesial root, and this root is the distal root. The roots, they are long and slender, and they are quite divergent as well. This is the lingual aspect of the tooth, and there are 2 lingual cusps. This cusp is the mesio-lingual cusp, and this cusp is the disto-lingual cusp. Similar to the buccal cusp, both of these cusps, they are nearly equal in size. Sometime in the background you can see part of the 3 buccal cusps. They are visible in the background. There's a lingual groove over here. A short lingual groove is present. This is a cervical line that is dividing the crown and the root, and it is nearly straight. So this is the mesial aspect of the tooth, and the mesial aspect, the mesio-lingual cusp, it is higher as compared to the mesio-buccal cusp. And the mesio-buccal and the mesio-lingual cusp, they are connected with the help of mesial marginal ridge. The buccal surface has a pronounced convexity near the cervical third. This is a cervical line, and the cervical line, it is nearly straight with a slight convexity towards the crown surface. This is the mesial root, and the mesial root is quite broad buccolingually. So the buccolingual dimensions of the root, it is quite broad. This is the distal aspect of the tooth, and on the distal aspect, the crown, it has a taper towards the distal side. In other words, the buccolingual dimensions of the crown and the root, it is less on the distal side. Similar to the mesial side, the distolingual cusp. This is the distolingual cusp. It is more higher and well developed as compared to the distobuccal cusp. The distal marginal ridge, it is short. So this is a distal marginal ridge. It is short and it has a slight dip towards the cervical area. So here, the marginal ridge has a slight dip. The root of this tooth, it tapers, and the buccolingual dimension of the root is less. That's why you can see the part of the mesial root when you look at the tooth from the distal aspect. So and the last thing is the cervical line curvature, it is nearly straight on the distal side. So this is the occlusal aspect, and you can see this is the buccal side because you can see the convexity is more on the buccal side. So there are three buccal cusps: mesiobuccal, buccal, and the distobuccal cusp, and they are nearly equal in size. This is the mesiolingual cusp, and this cusp is the distolingual cusp. This groove is the central developmental groove that crosses the occlusal surface of the tooth. So it forms a zigzag pattern. From the central developmental groove, you can see two additional grooves. This groove is the mesiobuccal developmental groove, that is between the mesiobuccal cusp and the buccal cusp. This is the distobuccal developmental groove that emerged from the central developmental groove between the buccal and the distobuccal groove, and this is the lingual developmental groove. On the occlusal surface, there are three fossae. This one is the mesial triangular fossa, just adjacent to the mesial marginal ridge, and this is smaller fossa is the distal triangular fossa, which is adjacent to the distal marginal ridge. And this fossa is the central fossa, and there's a pit which is known as, in the depth of this fossa, there's a pit known as the central pit. So this is all about the deciduous mandibular second molar, and this molar is very much similar to the permanent mandibular first molar. So thank you very much for watching this lecture. I hope you will find this lecture useful. Please do check out the links in the description of this video for more useful insight.